So we are looking here at Old School Tactical, Volume 3. This is the Pacific version of the game. I just finished the second scenario, Tulagi First, which is the Marines hitting some of the smaller islands around Guadalcanal, which were in this case defended by the Japanese Navy. And I forget what the SNLF for, like Naval Landing Force, something Special Naval Landing Force, or something like that. And so the Japanese have the naval forces defending the island. You can see in the setup here, they've got some heavy machine guns, they've got an AA gun, a sniper, and a couple of trenches that they can defend in. So when I did the setup for this, I defended, you can see the two trenches there. I put the Japanese in like a more forward position. So I had some guys with the heavy machine gun, I think here, and some guys here, and a guy then here in this building. I think I put the sniper in the palms over here in one of these spaces. Because I thought, well, I'll defend forward. The Marines are coming on here. I think the Japanese have to start north of line 10, which is along here. So I thought, well, the trenches here are good. It puts in between some terrain. It's defensible, close to the edge of the map, and they had this huge open field of fire here to shoot at the Marines at. And I thought, that's probably a pretty good strategy. And initially, I thought it was, because it forced the Marines to kind of have to try and change their approach. If you come running right up here, they were going to get shot to pieces by the heavy machine gun. And I think there was a light machine gun here, because the Marines ended up picking it up later. But there are a lot of Marines. There's 12 Marines in this scenario, and you've got 3 BARs and 3 satchels, so they can bring some firepower with them. And that's what ended up working out for them, so that they got up here and cleared the Japanese out of these trenches. And then there was not a whole lot. These were the control points here, here, and here. There was not a whole lot left in terms of the Japanese forces to defend these control points. So once the Americans kind of either got around, which in this case they did, I had guys run along this side of the map up to the control point over here. And these guys weren't particularly well positioned to defend that with some degrading terrain here to try and track Marines that were running past. Plus, I had some other Marines coming up and trying to hit them from this side, in addition to some that I ran up through the jungle here and then came out and charged these trenches. So the Marines did lose some casualties here. They also lost a number of guys trying to take this control point that were getting shot by... I had, I think, some Japanese in the grass here, either here or here, that were shooting back towards this control point to this space here. I think I had a guy here who eliminated at least one Marine squad here, if not 2. Maybe he eliminated one and did casualties on another. But let's take those off since the game's over. This last control point here, I had guys defending out in these grasses as well as at the control point, and the Marines were able to get in and take that. So this was the first one they took. The Marines got over here and took this space, and then the AA gun was stationed on this space and was largely ineffective. And again, the Marines charged this space and got shot up by the guys that were over here because these Marines had not yet moved from the trenches over to this point. So the Japanese were firing at the units trying to get this control point. That was the only kind of bad turn for the Marines, was they lost a couple of guys, a couple of casualties over there. I think casualty points at the end where the Japanese had inflicted 8 points, and the Americans had inflicted 17 points on the Japanese by the end. They ended up eliminating all of the Japanese forces. I may not have scored the last point for the Japanese, the leader that they killed at this last control point. I may have forgotten to score that, but whatever it was, 17 or 18 points. And then they got the victory points, all 9 victory points for controlling all 3 control spaces. They ended up finishing it by turn 3. That was the end of turn 3. The Americans had more impulse dice than the Japanese, so that was helpful for them. They had 3d6, the Japanese 2d6, and the Japanese got snake eyes on one of their impulse rolls, and the U.S. forces got like I don't know, 13 or something. So I mean, just a huge disparity in impulse points there for the Americans, which it was close on most of the turns, but those 2 or 3 turns where the U.S. had a lot more impulse points than the Japanese really tells on them. It allows the U.S. forces to move much more easily. That was one of the reasons they were able to get up to this control point fairly quickly and past the strong point here at the trenches. So, so far I've played the first 2 scenarios now, and I'm really enjoying the system. I haven't even gotten to the vehicle combat yet. I haven't done any bonsai attacks yet with the Japanese. So those are a couple of the more interesting mechanisms for the game that I haven't even tried yet, but already really enjoying the system. The combat so far, fire combat, very simple. You're just tallying up your firepower strengths and subtracting your defender's defense strengths with terrain modifiers and so forth, and figuring whatever that is on your CRT, and you get a simple response of casualties, elimination, or morale hits. And in the case of the Japanese, all these things that are just morale hits on the table for the Japanese, you just ignore those. They don't care about morale. So it makes it even easier than a typical game where you're trying to track lots of shaken and broken morale results. You never have to worry about it with the Japanese. They're either casualties or dead. There's no morale degradation. So it's been interesting movement, movement very simple. Combat so far very simple. Again, we'll see how it goes once I start getting some vehicles involved. And I'm looking forward to this is the base game, which there's no actual beach. I guess there is some beach there, so there may be some beach related landing scenarios. But I'm also looking forward to, I've got the Hellbent expansion over there, which is more, that map has some specific beach hexes on it. So I think you can do some Peleliu and Tarawa type landings for the U.S. forces. So that should be interesting. But again, so far really enjoying it. I may come back as I do work my way through these scenarios in the Volume 3 base game. I'm just flipping through to see how many scenarios there are. 15 or 16 scenarios. Yeah, 16 scenarios. So got quite a few more to do. I don't know that I'll be able to play all of them. I'll get probably burnt out on it at some point, but so far they're playing fast enough and easily enough that I've really been enjoying them. So I just thought I'd do a quick video recap of the second scenario here of Old School Tactical Volume 3. It's been pretty fun.